Hey YouTube, Mark Callahan, Mr. Saltwater Tank, coming to you today to walk you through this 400-gallon tank. VIP client that I built a tank for. This tank is about 1.25 years old now, so I'm going to walk you through it. You all loved my walk through the 560-gallon build that I did a couple weeks ago, so I'm walking you through this 400-gallon build. You flip things around, we'll get started. All right. So total system volume on this guy is right around 500 because there's a whole fish room down over there. I'll show you that in a minute. For those of you who always want to know about display tank dimensions, 84 inches across the front, 30 inches tall, and 36 inches front to back. Total display volume, 400 gallons. This thing is 3 sides viewable, as you can see. Let me walk you back so you get a perspective on the room where this sits. This client came to me at the perfect time. They came to me right when they were about to remodel this place. Their direction to their interior designer was, the fish tank's got to be the focus of the first floor. I said, that sounds like a fantastic idea. So all this used to be a very cavernous type house. There was a wall blocking here. They opened it up and made for an open floor plan. So in sitting here enjoying a meal, they get to look at their reef. Since it's an open floor plan as well, when they're in here in the kitchen, then they can sit here and enjoy their reefs too. So they get to see it from many sides. It is definitely the focus of the first story, which is exactly I was told to do in the interior designer as well. So that's that side of the tank. Now, the fish room is downstairs, so I'll show you that in a minute. This client has almost 2 fish rooms, because back here is behind the tank access, which is great because this tank essentially sits on the wall here. So it can be hard to reach from the front to the back on a 36-inch wide tank. So one way to get around that when you can is put a room behind it, which is what this is. Now, this tank has a catwalk that I custom designed for them. This thing actually folds down, folds flat. So if you wanted more working room in here, because as you can tell, the room isn't very wide. So this would actually all fold down. You can have access to it. This client prefers to leave it up. So the catwalk folds up and stays here. This is a fiberglass material that won't rust. That lets any water that might fall through, they can land on the floor and they can easily wipe it up. That way this doesn't get slick. This is also non-skid. So as they're working on their tank, it doesn't slip. In the little fish room here, they have frozen food. It's kept here. Their own little sink for rinsing fish food, things like that. RODI water on demand when they need it for rinsing things. And then the back of the tank, we've got equipment up here. And then here's the actual back of the tank. I'll step up on the catwalk so you can see it. This client had a good idea for how to keep the fish in. Instead of doing a mesh top, they just put this little fence up, and then we have access to the whole back of the system as well. This is very nice. It makes it very easy to work on the tank when you can get in here. Now what about the lights, right? They're a little close. How about this? Touch a button, the whole thing comes up. That's all done off a linear actuator. Now, people in the past have said, well, that's kind of loud and kind of slow. Yeah, maybe, but this isn't moved all that often. When it does, look, it's a light rack for a fish tank. We're not asking for a TV stand or something like that. The client was totally fine with how it works, but this way we easily raise it up and we have access to the tank. So we've got 4 Radion XR30 Pros, Generation 4s, and then 2 sets of T5 bulbs in the front and the back, giving a little supplementation. We can lift this thing all the way up to the ceiling. So if we want to get in here and work, we can easily get in here and access to the back of the tank. It makes it very easy to work on the tank from the back of the front. We can easily reach the back wall. Makes it very easy to work on the system. No one ever complains when it's easier. They only complain when it's hard. So that's the back of the tank. Water flows down through the Synergy box. This is a 20-inch Synergy box. It flows down into the fish room, which is downstairs and over that direction. Let's go on a little walk and I'll show you that. All right, let me back out here. As you can see, access to the back of the tank, narrow fish room here with the collapsible catwalk. Let's go walk around the system in front of it for those of you that are just joining me. 400 gallons in the display tank, 84 inches long, 30 inches tall, 36 inches front to back. All right, so that's that part of it. Let's go downstairs and we'll go over the fish room because everybody likes filtration rooms. Everybody likes fish rooms. taking a step down into the basement. Here's a hint: if you don't have a fish room and you get one, you'll never go back, because once you have one, you'll love it. Now, this fish room, of all the client tanks that I've done, every single client tank that I do, I take away a little something I like to have for my tank. This fish room is definitely even my dream fish room. I would love to have a setup like this, have the space. Let's have a look at it. What makes me so fond of this is that everything is in the center of this basement. When I came into this project, this was empty, but all this is occupied by HVAC, water heaters, well water softeners. We got electrical panels over here. We've got an old oil heater here. And there was actually a water heater here as well. So I didn't have a lot of places to put stuff around the outside of the tank, around the outside of the room. So I said, let's just put it in the center and make an island life support system. Now water all comes in through the crawl space here, comes in supported or on the ceiling off this unistrut, and then falls down into the sump there. This is emergency overflow line from the overflow box. This is a custom MRC industrial line sump that I've designed. Refined the design of this over the years. Sits on an aluminum stand with a drip tray to catch any drips that might come through. 2 media reactors, one for carbon, one for GFO, Bubble King Supermarine 200 skimmer, 2 filter socks, and then even a custom sink that I designed with my Reef Creations here. So everything matched. You can see it's white industrial. This is white industrial. This sink has a couple fun features on it. First thing, take your filter socks out, pick them up, drop them right in the sink here. You can see they're just sitting here drying out before we wash them. This way you don't have to put them in a bucket, haul them across the fish room and drip along the way. All we have to do is put them right here and we can easily wash them out. The sink also has on-demand RODI water here for rinsing out any test kits. And we have a nice industrial type faucet, so you want to get in here and clean things, you can do that as well. Hot and cold running water on this one. And a couple other features about this thing. You might be asking, what's this lip for? Hold that thought, I'll show you. Come back, grab it back here for you. So what this is for, more fiberglass grating. You just set that down in the sink like this. Get these brushes out of the way for you. Now I have a wet work surface, so you can rinse anything you need to rinse. All the water falls through and into the sink. Left some space here so you can dump out whatever that you might want. This gives you a working area so you don't have to reach down in here having something in the basin. This way, this puts it up at more working height. And when you need to do dry type work, say you want to run a test, water test, things like that, then I've got this piece of industrial material here from MRC. This slides right in like this, gives you a dry working space so you can run your water tests, get your tests here, your samples here, run your tests here, and then when you're done, simply move it out and you have access to the sink just like that. So that's a very handy sink. Loved working with this tank. Very useful, fun thing to have. Nice kind of bonus for the client. Here's a frag tank moving around the back of life support. This will come online in time. Don't need it quite yet, but we're getting there. Supplementation is done through an MRC calcium reactor down here. And then nutrient export is mainly done by this Refugium. Again, this is all MRC industrial, so everything is clean, everything matches the same look. We are growing a heck of a lot of algae in this thing, grown under some Radion lights here. This way, if this client ever wants to use the Refugium as a frag tank for extra frag capacity, he can. He doesn't have to change out the lights. And then everything on this system, as you might guess, is automated. So automatic water changes are done here through the dose. And we're automatically dosing kalkwasser, saturated kalkwasser here through an advanced calc reactor. And then moving around, we have the mixing station, 55 gallons of salt water, 55 gallons of RODI water, all circulated through an Abyss pump. This handles all the mixing station, and this pump here doubles as a backup for the return pump. This is an Abyss A400, same pump that's being used in the return pump for the tank. That way, if this one dies, all he's got to do is take this off his mixing station, put it in a display tank, and he's back in business. This way he doesn't have to keep a pump sitting on the shelf that he might not ever use. It's getting put to work in the mixing station, and it can double as a return pump backup. Another nice thing that I really like about this tank is the control panel. This all folds away, so you can see, gives us access to all those cords which end up around any saltwater tank. You don't have to fish things behind, simply just swing it out of the way. From this side, it looks nice and pretty. Swing it out of the way, you get access to all those cords behind. And of course, it has my famous oh shit or oh snap switch. Hit this, everything shuts down, sends us an alert that something is majorly wrong with the tank. And this way, if there's any spilled water or something majorly comes into it, they hit this button, shuts the whole thing down. All we gotta do is turn this, everything pops back on. For those of you control freaks, all done through the Apex, through a breakout box. It's a simple normal open, normal close switch. And that's how it's all done. Of course, water then gets back up into the tank, through the ceiling, through the crawl space up here, and goes back online. So that's the life support. Definitely jealous of this life support room. Having this life support island, very nice, love it. Definitely a fun project to work on. Definitely jealous of this one. Let's go jump back upstairs, show you all upstairs, show you the display tank one more time, and then we're gonna shut this thing down. Do a little filming for those of you that watch my show, Mr. Saltwater Tank TV. You'll be seeing this tank on my show before too long. Profile the whole build, how we got this thing into the house. Here is the display tank one more time. I'll back up so you get perspective in the room. Also jealous of this project because the display tank is right on the first floor. Unlike my tank where I have to leave the family, run upstairs to see it, this thing is all right here. This client is enjoying their meal and enjoying just sitting in their kitchen. They can walk through here. They don't have to leave the tank to enjoy it. Here's the main working area in the kitchen. Here's the fish tank where they can enjoy the thing. The tank is coming along. I'm getting some corals in here that are growing. Have a nice Aussie elegance down here in the corner. Lobo, hammer, frog spawns, nice bubble tip anemone as well. So it's coming along. Just getting really started hard on this, getting corals in this tank, getting the Zoa garden run right up here, getting that built out. One of my favorite corals, my Montipora undata. Those of you that watched my live stream on Monday was asking you about hacking out corals so mine gets more light. Gives you a little bit of a sense of what that thing looks like when it's actually colored up. Nice gorgonians and a meat coral as well. Some lobos and some leathers and some more gorgs over here to the side. So the tank's doing well. Very fun system to work on. Client is thrilled with it. They'll be heading to Australia with me to pick out fish and coral off the Great Barrier Reef for this thing. Excited to fill it up, let it grow out, and I'll show you more of this later on Mr. Saltwater Tank TV. Thanks everyone, have a great afternoon.